This is Sunday Morning Matters.
Hey there, good morning. Thank you so much for starting off your Sunday with us. We have a packed show this week. We start with this. Did immigration activists cross the line? Congressman David Valadao was not too happy when protesters Wednesday began chanting across the street from his house in Hanford. Valadao's wife and kids were home. He was not because he was on his way to sit down with me in Fresno. And I asked him about the protests as well as other big issues impacting farmers. Here's my interview. Congressman, good having you on.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue was in town this week. Got to spend some time with him.
Yeah.
How was that visit? I know he's been here before.
He's actually been in the Valley, I think, 4 times in the last year. And
so what was the purpose of this one?
Well, this one, he was in town mostly to start the trip off was about the fires.
Yeah.
And so when we found out he was in town, with everything going on with trade and especially now with this new program that's coming out, the $12 billion, we wanted him to actually hear from our farmers.
All right, so you're talking about the $12 billion that's going to be going back to farmers in response to worries about the tariffs, the retaliatory tariffs that have really have you nervous, have other people nervous. Last time you were here, we talked about that level of nervousness and concern that you and others had. Has that changed at all? What has happened since then?
No, it hasn't changed. But the problem that we struggle with on this is every farmer you talk to will still talk about trade being an issue no matter what. And so a lot of farmers I talked to today, yes, they're concerned, yes, they're nervous, but at the same time, they also want something good to come from this because we've had a lot of issues over the years that they want to get addressed, and the president has taken a different approach to that.
As somebody who obviously is a dairy farmer, you know, come from that background, the president has asked for patience from farmers. Do you think farmers are willing to give that?
Yes, I do. There's actually quite a few out there that are, I mean, every farmer, they're humans just like everyone else. So everyone's got their opinion. But yes, I do have a lot of them coming to me and saying, yes, we're willing to wait, but we want something good to come from this. And so having that opportunity to make sure the secretary understood that and can pass that along, and especially with the USDA being helpful in opening up new markets. So that we're taking an all-above approach on this one. So
Sonny Perdue, he's been very supportive of the president's posturing with some of these tariffs and really aggressive stances that he's been taking. What's his tone, and did he get any pushback from local growers here talking to him about it?
I wouldn't say he got pushback on the tariff side. Again, because farmers understand that there is an issue that needs to be addressed. China does not play fair. A lot of countries aren't playing fair on trade, and we seem to always be on the wrong side of every deal, and we always have an issue fighting back. So that's what a lot of farmers are asking for. When it came to the dollars, yes, there was some pushback on how those dollars should be spent.
The Farm Bill is going to be a big issue. You guys, Congress returns, you said September 4th. That's going to be a big one. I know it's going to conference right now. When you voted yes on this, you released a statement on the House version of the bill, and you said that you were given assurances, talking to Speaker Ryan, that there would be changes made in conference to make it a better bill. What did you not like about the bill that you signed, and what can get better?
So dairy provisions for California dairy does not work, and so not perfect. I mean, there's some things in there that help us obviously in the right direction, but it wasn't what I would like to see out of the Farm Bill. As far as assurances, there's no guarantees in Congress that a bill is going to be exactly what I want, and so what I wanted from leadership was that I would have a seat at the table so we can be a part of this. The chairman of the Ag Committee is a good friend, and so we'll continue to work with him to make sure that we have the ability to make as many changes as we can, or at least as positive as possible for California. I mean, some of the issues also with the Prop 2, the eggs part, there's a King Amendment there that's also a problem for us, California.
How so? How so? Go ahead.
Well, the issue is, you remember Prop 2 basically created a system here where eggs are cage-free in California. Well, the King Amendment will actually allow other states to import eggs and undercut our market. And so you've got farmers in California that have to live by the laws that they have to live by here in California, and to allow them to be able to undercut and actually put our farmers out of business is a problem.
So are they able to undercut because they don't have some of the same regulations that California has?
That's exactly what it is. They're hoping to be able to undercut. They don't have that ability today, but the King Amendment is in there now, and so one of our asks was to see that be removed. We'll see how that moves forward. Obviously, the leadership is listening to us, and I think we're in a great position to have that dialogue.
Much has been made when it comes to the Farm Bill about the SNAP program and about the differences between the House version of the bill that you voted on and the Senate version. The Senate version does not have these work requirements that were added on, which is included in the House version. Are work requirements for basically the food stamp program a good thing?
Well, done right, yes. I think it should be a reasonable ask to have people at least reach out. And this bill is not just to make sure that they work, but it also gives them the opportunity to go to school. So if they don't have the ability to get a job, it does direct funds to help them go to school, pay for school, and go through the process of getting back on their feet and getting a job. And that's the most important part of this.
You said if it's done right. Is it done right in this bill, as far as you can tell?
I feel like the House version is as close as we're going to get on that side. Obviously, the Senate doesn't have that, but they're going to have to compromise on that part of it specifically, because the Senate doesn't have that. And if it's
a big sticking point right now.
It is, but that's what I mean is if it comes out and it's done right, yeah, it could be helpful. And I assume when the two compromise, it will be done right.
We're talking right now on, what is it? It's Wednesday. And as we are speaking, protesters have been outside your home, protesting well, they want changes to immigration. They want comprehensive immigration reform. They want changes to deportations, family separations, all that stuff. But they're protesting outside your home. And I know your Chief of Staff, Cole, he sent out a statement blasting this, saying it is completely inappropriate. He demanded that the people doing this apologize immediately. How do you feel about this? Has anybody ever protested actively outside your actual residence?
Not that I know of. I mean, obviously we know that people have been outside of our home. We know that people have, I mean, there's the sad part of politics. There are people like these folks who use type of bully or intimidation tactics to either video your house, put it on the internet, or try to follow your family. And this one was right outside the family just for their opportunity to put pressure on me or intimidate me.
So you consider it bullying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the most unhelpful way of doing it too. Because if they really truly believed in what they were protesting for and what they were asking for, they wouldn't be doing it to one of the guys who's actually been a vocal advocate for what they're asking for. They would be showing that, hey, this guy's working with us. But what happens is after they do their protest and it goes back to Washington, the news picks it up, is everyone else who was on the fence in Washington of coming in and supporting their issue will look at it and say, if that's the way they treat us when we get over there, I want nothing to do with it. So they actually do themselves more harm. But at the end of the day, I don't actually believe these people are sincere in what they're protesting. I think this is all about politics for them, and it's a sad situation because they're just being more divisive and actually creating more problems.
So I know our newsroom, we reached out to the people who were leading these protests, and the director of this, he said, listen, their views or their inaction as they view what your results have been in Congress when it comes to immigration directly affects us at the home and at the home level. It's tearing families apart. So why can't we protest outside their home? It seems like a fair balance.
So again, this is them playing politics with an issue. If they actually wanted to solve the issue, we had an opportunity to vote on a piece of legislation that did include the DREAM Act. Better language than what was in the DREAM Act because it allowed path to citizenship for more people. If these folks were truly sincere about this, they would have been asking for that vote and supporting members who voted for that. We got absolutely no Democratic support, and these folks are going to continue to live in limbo and protest. And instead of solving the problems, they're actually hurting and delaying the problems. That wasn't a legitimate vote. They have to understand there's going to be compromise. They have to understand that to get what they want, they also have to give. And what they don't like to see is money going towards securing our border. Securing our border is important. The president wants that. He's going to sign a piece of legislation that includes that. And so if they can get what they want alongside with what the president wants, that's called compromise. That's what our country is built on, and they should be working towards that. But instead, they're doing the opposite. They're attacking those who have been supportive of their issue, and they're trying to intimidate and bully. And it's, at the end of the day, like I said, this is them playing politics with an issue instead of actually trying to help the people they claim they're trying to help.
Congressman, as always, thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me.
And coming up after the break, I go one-on-one with Fresno Congressman Jim Costa, who also spent time with Sonny Perdue this week. We got that interview next.